I'm going to eat chocolates while I talk to you.
Sounds good.
Okay, we're live now on Periscope. We are Vaxxed, Facebook and YouTube. Yes, we are. Okay, so who are you guys? What are your names?
I'm John.
Christina. Reagan.
And you, how old are you?
12.
I hope this is the third time I've asked her, but it's the first time for you, peeps. So you're 12 years old, and the chickenpox vaccine, the varicella vaccine, hurt you, yes?
Yes.
Can you remember it, the whole thing?
No.
No, because you were little. Okay, so we'll let your mum and dad tell a story, okay? Right, so when, going back those years, when you were expecting her, would I have been able to call you both anti-vaccine crazy tree huggers?
No.
No.
We would have been very much
Pro-vaccine.
pro-vaccine.
Very, very pro-vaccine.
What did you think of people who did not vaccinate their children?
That they were probably tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists. Yeah.
Well, I had a little bit different view.
Yeah.
Coming from I have a law enforcement background, so I dealt with a lot of different type of people, and so I didn't necessarily think that they were crazy, but I've always felt like it was a parent's right to decide. I didn't become kind of anti-vaccine until Reagan was born, and they tried to give her the hepatitis B vaccine as a one-day-old baby, and the nurse was so insistent that she get the vaccine, and even threatened to call Children Protective Services.
Really?
And the police, and he was the police at the time.
Yeah.
And you were in the police force?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
And so he said, I am the police. What do you
I love it.
And so
What did they do?
there was, so she finally let it go, and
But the way she let it go was, I finally decided I was hungry, and he went and got me something to eat. And so she came in and made me sign this form that said that I was denying her the vaccine. And I was on morphine. I didn't know what I was signing. I just knew it was just a form I was supposed to sign. Well, now that I know what these forms are, I know what I signed, and I apparently signed that I was putting my daughter at risk.
so after that, I became suspicious of the entire process, and so when it became time to start vaccinating her to get her shots, I told Christina, I said, I'm not comfortable you getting her vaccinated for childhood illnesses that don't normally cause death. It doesn't make sense to me. And because that nurse had been so insistent when she was 1 day old, that made me suspicious of the entire thing.
Yeah, and so at that point, he didn't care, if I got her the polio vaccine. He was worried about that, and normal things like that. But when the day that I had to go in to give her the 6-shot series, she was a little over 1, and
What was that? Tell me what you had.
she had the first shot she got was the varicella zoster, and that was where it stopped. And
You just got the first shot.
the
Okay.
first shot, the needle was still in her arm. She probably didn't even get 1/16 in, and her arm started swelling, and she started getting
Straight away.
blotchy, getting welts, and then she started having trouble breathing.
So
And
she
then-
immediately went into shock as soon as the needle went in.
Yes, she just barely pushed. She started screaming. The nurse.
And
did.
you were there.
I was holding her down.
You were
myself.
holding her down. Where were you? Not there.
I was
He
at work.
refused to go.
Yeah.
And what happened? Talk us through every detail of what happened.
The doctors and the nurses came running in, and the doctor said she's atopic and she's struggling to breathe. He said, I need you to step away. And so they went on ahead, and the doctor said, try giving her Benadryl first. And so they started shoving Benadryl in her shoe. She was just 1. And they started working on her and trying to get her to, open up her airways and stuff. And we stayed there for about 3 hours. And they had to keep her on watch, and I had to call him and tell him she just had a reaction. And he said, from what? And I said, they didn't even start hardly. I was like, I don't even know if they hardly got any of it in her.
And I told her then, we're done.
Yeah, he said, we're done. He said, this is exactly what I thought.
I said, we're done. No more.
It was the most horrible
What
thing.
did the medical professionals say to you? I say they're medical professionals. They're not. But what did the ones who think that they are, the White Coat Brigade, what did they say to you? Did they tell you to stop vaccinating?
No,
No.
he said she's allergic to the varicella zoster vaccine. We cannot give her that anymore. Let's go ahead and wait about 3 or 4 weeks and then come back and get the rest of the series. And my husband said she's not going back.
Did you say you used to be in the police force?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, here's what I'm trying to understand. How is it that we are not reporting these crimes? Okay, so here's the first thing that should have happened. They For him to say, come back in 3 weeks and we'll try again, they're supposed to get a history. How did she do with her last vaccine? Look at the inserts. There's a cutout thing there, and there's a message to the doctors. Doctors, ask them what happened when they were last vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no care. Surely it's a criminal offence. What if, the SIDS babies, so I'm going to go off because you're a policeman. What if the SIDS babies, they say vaccines are safe and effective. If you don't vaccinate this child, your child will die. Parents vaccinate the child dies. Why is that not a criminal offence? Why can't we go to the police and say, why aren't we calling 911? I want to report a crime. My child's died from vaccines. My child nearly died from a vaccine.
So, at least in our country, the police arrest for crimes that probable cause, and then the district attorneys are the actual prosecutors of those cases. There is no statute that the district attorneys haven't made case law to where that's something that we could do. Probably should be. At least there should at least be a civil remedy. When we started researching vaccines after she was injured and found out that you can't sue anybody if they kill your child, you can't sue them.
They're protected.
What industry has that protection? Why would an industry need that protection?
Yes. Why would they even have to have the Supreme Court even rule in that they were protected for any adverse reactions? It just doesn't make any sense. So they knew something was awry. We had no idea at that point.
All right, Bill, thumbs up. 5 more stories after this and then they're done. Sorry.
Okay.
So it's changed the way that we do things. I mean, things as basic as camp for her, some sort of camp that she may be going to. They send you the paper home and it says, send her shot records. There are none, and then you send that. You say we don't do that, and then they go through this entire thing. Well, we're afraid that your child is going to
bleed to death.
Well, we're afraid your child's going to hurt these other children because she's not vaccinated, and they are. And so my response is always, if they're vaccinated and the vaccines work, then how is my child a threat to them by not being vaccinated?
So the only medical exemption that we have is the varicella zoster. And so our only recourse is to say that she's vaccine injured. She has a medical exemption for varicella zoster. And that we have a philosophical religious exemption, because our philosophical view is that they injure. They put poison in your body.
It's on the insert. They kill.
Yeah.
There's no way. They would have to murder me to give my child another vaccine.
Yeah, no way. You're not having any more vaccines. You hear that?
Oh, she knows. And as a matter of fact, we keep, whenever we are around any kind of family members or we go anywhere, we always ask, during vax season, which is usually around school time. Mm-hmm. And then when flu season comes around, and we ask, has your child been vaxxed? Because she actually can get sick from somebody that has been vaccinated or catch something from them. And her doctor has let us know that. Her doctor that she sees now says if somebody's been vaccinated, she can't be around them for about 6 weeks. And so we know that, and he knows that. But the general consensus is that we're not telling the truth.
We've actually had family members tell us that we were mistreating her by not vaccinating her. And so we always tell them, look, when she's 18 years old, if she decides that she wants these vaccines, if she researches them and she decides that's what she wants, she can take them all then. But that way, she's not missing anything, other than we're protecting her. I mean, and we see that. I mean, from the time she was born to the time she was 1, twice the medical industry tried to hurt her.
Yes.
Right, but when you say family members that think that mystery, are they in the medical profession? Or what are they afraid that's going to happen to her when they know already that she nearly died from the varicella?
Yes.
Right.
So she might catch polio from who and what and where?
That's a good question. Oh, and chickenpox.
Chickenpox is fine. Catch
Deadly.
chickenpox.
Yeah. I got chickenpox when chickenpox party in the 80s.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to put your family down, but anyone who thinks chickenpox is deadly has the brain cell of a gnat.
Yeah, and it's not our entire family. There's just
select few.
Yeah, and so it's almost like they have believed the propaganda, they have believed the public relations that the industry puts out, and so they can't back up any reason why she should have it other than that's what everybody does. This is what everybody does, so you should do it too.
One of the most amusing things that I have gained over this was when she was little and I started vaccinating her at 2 months. We had to remove all the carpet from our home because she had such terrible respiratory issues. And she stayed sick all the time. She had caught RSV. And as soon as we stopped vaccinating her, about a year afterwards, now we spent thousands of dollars removing the carpet from our home and putting in these expensive air purifiers so that our air would be absolutely clean for her to be able to breathe.
No carpet in your house now.
No carpet in our
Yeah.
house. None. Zero.
That makes me happy because I hate
And we have
carpet.
hypoallergenic schnauzers, so that way, they wouldn't bother her either. And now she's healthier than any child we know.
Here's the thing, I'm still going back to your family. Sorry, I know I shouldn't. I know I should not, but their family member, again, do they really want to risk the needle going in again to her? What if she has the same anaphylactic shock reaction? That nearly, as soon as the needle went in,
I know.
it nearly killed her.
It's always the benefits outweigh the risk. And you never
And
know
they
if it's going to
don't.
happen.
They don't
again.
understand. How are we
Yeah.
going to educate these people? This is very interesting to
weren't
me because this is
there.
the masses.
Yeah.
Your family are the masses.
But I think it actually, I think the education of this is moving forward slowly, but it's moving forward. Our doctor understands.
Yes.
Our doctor is neither pro nor anti-vaccine. He leaves it completely up to each parent.
Now, was he the doctor that gave her the varicella?
No.
You moved on from that
we
one.
moved on,
Did
yes.
that one do a little bit of a runner? Is he gone?
Oh,
Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah. We
Everybody.
sought out and found a doctor that would understand our wishes.
And we went through about
abide by them.
three pediatricians before we finally found this one. And
We
he's
got so
amazing.
tired of taking her into a pediatrician and him saying, well, I do understand, but I really think you ought to da-da-da-da-da. He would give us a speech every time. So we found a doctor that would not do that. And he's been good about it. And since I've retired from law enforcement, I went into the medical IT business. So so I actually service hospitals and medical clinics and these type of things for their computer systems. I've got to meet some of these people. And most of these people are not bad people. There are people that are in the vaccine business on a level of giving the child the vaccines for the money. There are. But most of these people are not those people. They just don't know any better, just like her family member didn't.
Just had a little education.
They just know they're supposed to do it. And so that's why they do it.
Yeah, but how are we going to get to these people? This is the big burning question. I don't know. So, like we had one lady on earlier, the 7-week-old baby. Her husband wants to vaccinate, and she's woken up to it. And he won't listen. So how do we get to these people?
They need to hear the stories from parents like us. Like, he wasn't there, but he knew the call. I was the one that was in the room when they had the needle in her arm. And it was still in her arm. And she jerked it out really fast, and she started screaming at the top of her lungs. And I have to remind myself every single day that I was the parent that was holding my child down and nearly killed her. And it sounds very extreme.
But it's truth.
But it is the truth. There are delayed reactions where children, they die of SIDS, etc. But that is absolute concrete proof right there that the vaccine was in her. They were pushing it in her, and they watched it happen, and they cannot deny it. It's non-deniable. And he still said, come back in about 3 or 4 weeks and we'll finish her schedule. We just won't give her varicella anymore.
I think we're years away from it being popularly known, the other viewpoint in this whole situation. I think what you're doing is working,
Yes.
but it's going to take
It's
time.
really created a big conversation. I'm part of so
But it makes
many-
me really angry that she can't go, or she gets abused for wanting to go to whatever you said, a club or a sports thing,
Camps.
camp, and they do that. It makes me, and I hate to say this because this makes me as bad as them, but it makes me want to say, okay, you know what? All you want to vaccinate, off you go. You go and live in, I don't know, so let's say England. We'll take over America because we're not going to do it, or other way
Yes,
around. We
I
don't
feel
care.
that way too.
You
Yeah.
guys live your life, and we'll see you later. When you're woken up, you're welcome into our life. But I am
Exactly.
fed up with people like this beautiful girl here, kind of being bullied.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
bullying.
It is.
And it's not okay.
She's
by
very
me.
limited in the activity she's allowed to join because she doesn't have a vaccine record except to that day. And so I don't even know how I'd even obtain it except, go to the health department and say, hey, can I have the short vaccine record? And they'd ask us to get her updated our vaccines. And there's absolutely no way.
They
it's gonna
depend on
happen.
peer pressure, just like kids do to get some kid to use drugs. This industry depends on peer pressure. They depend on my
Parents.
neighbor saying, "Why is your child not vaccinated? You should do that." That's what they depend on, and that's the reason why what you're doing is important. I think that's the reason why we drove for 2.5 hours to come here today.
You drove 2.5 hours?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Where do you live?
Actually, we drove 3.5 hours because we had to take her to Lebonner Children's Hospital to be tested.
In Memphis for a checkup, but we live in Union.
How'd you do?
Good.
Good job.
We live in Union City, Tennessee, which is about halfway between here and Memphis. So it's a 2.5 hour trip to Nashville. So we went to Memphis first, and then drove 4 hours.
Yeah, it's
to
almost
here.
4 hours, 3 hours and 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Oh,
And,
Very important story.
Thank you.
People don't realise about chickenpox, you see, because it's lumped in this whole cocktail of vaccines.
Yes.
Right.
And now
so
it's
the fact that you
in the
only had that.
MMRV. And so, and if I told the doctor, and this is what I'm really scared of, because now it's in the measles, mumps, rubella, varicella. So now it's 4 vaccines in one MMRV. And if I said she is allergic to the varicella zoster, well, they don't really know that much about what they're injecting into the children, honestly. They just know that they have to have all these. And so they would, I just know it, they would just pop the MMRV in her and not even think twice about it and say, oh, wait, they have varicella in it, zoster in it.
What we took her back for a checkup for was she had a cyst on her left ovary.
Who did?
She did.
She did.
You did. You're a bit young for that.
Right. It's just she had to have it surgically removed.
It's
And
emergency surgery.
right at Lebonner's Children's Hospital, and so there the first couple medical professionals that we've seen at the emergency room and then up at the surgical suite, we had to go through this entire reason why we didn't vaccinate. What's her shot record? What vaccines has she had? And then they were nice about it, but they kept insisting, do you want us to catch these shots up? No.
Wait, because of this thing,
That's
what vaccine did they want you to have?
They wanted to catch up.
catch up with all of her vaccines.
Yeah.
From the age of 1 up to.
Wow, and you told about the anaphylactic shock from the...
Yes,
Yes.
and that
And
stopped
they-
it. No, that stopped
That,
it.
stopped
yeah,
it.
that's
Stopped it.
As a
scary.
matter of fact,
Yeah.
when we saw the doctor yesterday, he said something that was very key, and it was great. But what I what I really wanted them to contemplate was, why is a prepubescent child, why does she have a 5.5 centimeter that has twisted her ovary and caused the blood supply to shut
Yeah.
off? Why does she have this dump of estrogen in
You
her
sure she
body?
didn't have Gardasil at any point?
No.
Okay, just
No,
asking.
she will never have Gardasil.
Sounds like a Gardasil thing.
She eats healthy. She lives healthy. We live on a farm. You know, it's an organic farm. So everything she eats is healthy. She lives healthy. She's homeschooled. Why does she have this huge baseball-sized cyst on her ovary?
That's
And
terrible.
you're thinking, could it have stemmed from possibly something that we had given her, vaccine-related, considering it has estrogens in it? No, we're not going to go ahead and catch her up on her vaccines.
And the surgeon yesterday that saw her, it's been 5 or 6 months ago since she had the surgery. He'd forgotten, obviously, our conversation, and so he looked at her record and he said, "Oh, wait, I'm missing her shot record." And I said, "She doesn't have one. We don't vaccinate." And he said, "Well, is there any reason why?" He said, "Is there a reason why you don't vaccinate?" So Christina told her their story about the anaphylactic shock, and he said, vaccines are a funny thing. He said, somebody always gets the short end of the stick. And so he left it alone right then. He didn't go any further.
Yeah.
And so I really think, I know it's not working as fast as we want it to, but I really think people telling their stories, what you guys are doing, I think is slowly getting out into the community. People are talking about it. They're sharing it with each other. And I think people are seeing the alternate point of view. And that's what we have to, we have an alternate point of view at this point. We're not in the mainstream, and that's okay. But we want to protect our children.
And we're not anti-vaccine. We're ex-vaxxers.
We did vaccinate our children. Come on.
Yes.
That's what annoys me. Is they can't look. At least we did that stupid thing of vaccinating our kids.
Yes. I did it. I've
Yeah.
been there.
Let
I've
us
done
own
that.
it.
And I'm over. And that's the one thing is they call us anti-vaxxers, and we're not anti-vaxxers.
We're ex-vaxxers. Yeah, very important. They don't get away with that.
That is a key difference.
Massive difference.
It's a big difference. And so she's a lot healthier now than she ever was when she was a baby. She's doing very well. And a lot of her friends stay sick.
I bet they did. I bet
They
they've all
do.
had the Gardasil. Now, tell me, what are your favourite things you like to do?
I play basketball and I do dance. I'm a hip hop dancer.
Nice. And is that what you want to be when you grow up?
I don't really know yet.
Dance is fun. I don't know. Mum and Dad may not think so, but
She loves to dance, so she does a lot of it.
Do you think you're going to vaccinate your children?
No.
hell no.
No.
You kidding? No way. By the time you have children, we hopefully would have sorted this mess out.
She actually, she's pretty verbal about it, and
Good for you. Speak up about it.
she does. And
The people in my dance studio, I told them that I was going to be here and interviewed, and one of the people, we were doing yoga, and she just huffed because she didn't disagree.
She disagreed with what you're doing?
Yeah.
She's probably listening to her parents. Kids learn from their parents.
yes.
It was actually the parent.
It was
one of the
actually
kids.
The parents.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, and did you say... I'm sorry, no, I'm about to teach her to be sassy.
Girl.
I won't.
No,
I'm sorry.
we've already taught her to be sassy.
You
She
give
has
her
a
my
very-
phone number, okay? You tell her to ring my number, okay? I'll sort her
She
out.
has a very dry. She's very witty. And she has a dry sense of humor, and she's hilariously condescending. So
I mean, all you're doing is warning people, isn't it? That's the
yeah,
point.
she's just a
You know, here's a good thing about you, is that you know the dangers of vaccines. So your life from now on is going to be just fine and dandy, as is your children's. Be very careful who you marry.
Mhm.
Okay, I want a resume. I want a financial forecast. You send them to me, okay? I'm going to have a look at them, and then we're going to have a chat about vaccines. Then
There we go.
you can marry the person, okay?
Yes.
I completely forgot what we're saying now. I
Ambulance.
think that's about it, really. Have you got anything else to say? Any words of wisdom?
Do you have anything you'd like to say to any peers your age? Any parents?
Don't vaccinate your kids.
Right, that's the most honest advice you can give, because the health of the unvaccinated is brilliant.
The advice I would give you is if you have a gut feeling, trust it and research. That's what we did.
And don't be the mom like me that has to watch your child suffer in front of you.
And me.
Yes.
And question people in authority with all due respect. I know you're a policeman, but I think that's a lot of the problem.
Yeah, and they bully you.
Is that
They tried to bully him, and they had given me morphine, and I told the doctor that I didn't want morphine, and they gave it to me anyway. We had to wait for him to come back. So I was so glad that he took over, and he was so strong-willed that he told them absolutely not, do not touch my daughter.
I thought they were going to throw us out of the hospital. We had a screaming
match.
I mean,
I would have paid money to have been there when
Oh,
the
it was
nurse said,
crazy.
I'm going to call the police, and you said, I am the police.
Yes.
Please, why wasn't that not filmed?
Oh gosh, it was insane, and I was just, I had to have a C-section with her, and I didn't want one, but I had to have one, and so I was just laying in the bed. I couldn't do anything, and they were both screaming back and forth over me, and it was insane. But he protected her right there on the first day, and so I should have listened, and I didn't, but now I know better.
And she's fine, thank God.
Yes.
She's not on that board
No.
You can still sign the outside of the bus though, because
Yes.
you had an injury,
Yes.
and that's what it's all about. Is there something you love? Hugs? You're getting hearts from around the world. You want to see some?
Sure.
This is Periscope. Let me just turn it around the other way.
Look at all your hearts.
You see that? And then this is, wait a minute. This is We Are Vaxxed. Wait a minute. I'll just turn that around. Why can't I turn it around? There you go. See all those hearts? And then you've got all those hearts there. And that's
Look at
literally
that.
from, it's not just America. Oh, I know where all the people can go. They can go to Australia, the ones that want to vaccinate. Off you go to Australia. Australian good people, you come over here, we'll look after you.
There you go. Yes, that's perfect.
I'm not being a very good, what's the word?
Well, if you know the history,
Role model for you, sorry.
if we know the history of Australia and how Australia came to be, that's pretty much what happened before. So,
Yeah, off you go, vaccinators who want to go and vaccinate. You go to Australia because the government will love you and you'll have a happy life.
yes.
And we'll just stay here. Okay, guys, we got 5 more stories to bring you. Billy's just about holding up. Anything else you guys want to say?
no, ma'am. Thank you for being here.
Well, they love you guys. And
Thank
you've driven a long way, so thank you so much. Okay, there we go.